Warren and Lily, welcome to Virgin Radio. It's a pleasure to have you both here. And first of all, congratulations on your new film, Rules Don't Apply.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't quite know where to start with it. Lily, would you mind if I started with you first? Because I guess there's both of you actually, there's an element of autobiographicalness in terms of arriving in a place like Hollywood to hopefully start a career in acting, which is something that your character, Marla, is part of her journey in the film. What's the kind of the reality of that like? What was it like for you?
As Lily?
As Lily, yeah.
Well, when I moved from England to Los Angeles, I knew I wanted to act, but I also was very studious, and school was a huge, important thing for me to accomplish. But I studied youth dramatic arts I did plays and musicals. So I didn't start professionally auditioning until I was about 16, 17. And at that point, I kind of knew the rejection side of it, having grown up within the industry myself. I knew that I would be told no more than yes. And so I kind of got a backbone quite young about it. But it was also a different system back then. It was a studio system, so there were really only a few people that you could go after in Marla's world, whereas here it was just going off to different casting directors and very different type of entrance into the business, I think.
Warren, this is a story that you've been wanting to tell for quite some time, and interestingly, when we spoke previously, I was really intrigued to hear that you never met Howard. So this is your interpretation of him, I guess.
Yeah, I felt that he was a good obstacle for this thing that I wanted to do, which is a love story between two young people who come to Hollywood from backgrounds that are quite American Puritan backgrounds, and the effects of this American sexual Puritanism that so often has made us the laughingstock of you people. Yes.
Like we're a different race.
Yes, the Europeans say, what's the problem? And so the problem is not only this Puritanism that rests with the character that Lily plays and the character that Alden Ehrenreich, who's, by the way, the next Han Solo, who's shooting now here. But these two terrific actors are playing people who are dealing with that Puritanism and the consequences of it. And Howard has always, Hughes has always struck me as a really good comedic material, because he was so outrageous in his wish to be hidden and consequently controversial, and that particular brand of what some people might call narcissism, I find funny. I didn't know him. If I had known him, I wouldn't make a picture about him.
Really?
But yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I just feel that, I used to have, there's at the beginning of the picture, there's a quote of Howard Hughes, I never check an interesting fact, but what I used to have before that was I quoted both Henry Ford and I quoted Napoleon. Henry Ford said, history is bunk, and Napoleon said, history is a set of lies agreed upon. And so this whole idea, by the way, having had, I think now 16 books written about me, and I haven't read.
Have you read any of them?
I haven't read any of them. I've read about 8 or 10 pages of most of them. And I say, well, whatever history here is bunk, and both the good and the bad. So I feel some greater amount of freedom if I haven't known someone, but they do represent a certain thing. And what Howard Hughes represents to me, and I find it comedic, is very similar to what, for instance, Greta Garbo represents to me, which is a sort of an unnecessary mystery about each of them, which is not possible in today's technology the way it was before.
It's almost that old line of, isn't it, never meet your heroes, in a way. you never want to meet your heroes in case they let you down or disappoint you.
Yeah. We have concepts of people that are not necessarily accurate. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's and in this kind of day and age, it's hard to. There's so much out there that the whole kind of the fact and fiction thing is the line is so blurred. Lily, your performance is wonderful in this, and the chemistry between yourself and Alden is wonderful, and it's a great thing to watch. This kind of slight kind of cat and mouse kind of thing that they have going with each other. Was it obvious for you that this was going to be a great partnership when you did you screen test together? Did you?
No, we just over sushi one night at Warren's house. We just read a couple scenes out loud and played around with the dialogue, and then we threw the script out and just did the scene without anything.
Oh wow.
I remember Warren saying, just don't look at the lines and just say what you mean. And I was able to hold Alden's gaze in this moment, and he was just so understanding, and he was in the moment so much with me that I knew in that moment, wow, I've got a partner in crime. I've got a comrade. He's going to be there with me every step of the way. And we went through the ringer on it. We really, it was a couple months of intense closeness and learning a lot and having to support one another. And he made me laugh when I needed to laugh. He, gave a shoulder to cry on. Like he's amazing. He's a really, really talented young man.
And then the relationship between Marla and Howard as well. I love the scene where she gets more and more inebriated, swigging a bottle of champagne around the room. It's a wonderful scene to kind of see, and the confidence she kind of ensues in that scene is, I guess, goes against the kind of the way that women were portrayed or held themselves in that time. Do you know what I mean? There is that whole kind of discussion, I think, that's thread through the film as well in terms of women's place. And she's a feisty character, which she doesn't show all the time. Do you agree?
I do. I think she's always tenacious and passionate and very. She goes after what she wants. She doesn't take no as no, this isn't for me. It's just a no, not right now. I'm going to keep at it and get told yes. So I think the alcohol just helps her a little vocalize that, but it doesn't change her. I think she's always been that inside. It just is that it's that foreign help that she's never known was there, that she goes right off after that night. She doesn't start to use it in any way. It's just it's a one night thing that ends up showcasing her tenacity in a new way, gets her into a little bit of trouble, but ultimately it helps her gain some strength and use her voice more.
Would you mind if we played you on the radio singing Rules Don't Apply?
Not right this second. I'm not. You can play the track that's already recorded.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to ask you to sing it now. But
that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll play it on the radio because that's
awesome.
It's a really important part of the film that kind of comes in different parts.
Thank you.
So we're going to play it now.
That's amazing because I've never been on the radio like that.
That was Lily Collins singing Rules Don't Apply from her new film. What was that experience like for you singing?
It was really amazing. Warren mentioned to me, do you sing? And I said yes, and then that was kind of it. We practiced with a pianist every day for a couple months. And then on the day it was live, and I had a.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we did it live because it was so much more magical that way because I could live and breathe in the moment. If I was feeling nervous as Lily, so would Marla, and with Alden there, it didn't want to have to dub to a track and be focused on mimicking and matching that. So to be able to do it live and have the cracks there with the piano, and it just added so much more depth to the character and the story. It would have been a disservice not to have that. So it was terrifying, but in the most creative way, and I really actually hope I get to do it again on something.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you played the saxophone, sir.
I'll have you know I play the piano.
Okay.
Badly. No, I don't play the sax, but I've played the sax in 2 movies.
It's that wish I wanting to play the saxophone.
Yes.
Fakes it real well.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind the song and about it kind of, appearing in the film on a number of occasions?
The idea behind it?
Yeah, why did you want to have a song to kind of have that purpose within the film?
Well, there's that moment where the obstacles are discarded, and that moment between them that I think is difficult for him to avoid, Alden's character, look at her. I believe very much. I keep saying in the blink that the intelligence in the unconscious mind is much higher than the intelligence in the person who does the same person who does a lot of thinking. The more we think about, the more we study, the dumber we get, I think, sometimes. And so it was interesting in casting Lily and Alden. I knew within a couple of seconds on both of them. Lily, in fact, was not available at first, and that really disturbed me. And then things happened, and then she became available. And Alden, he's such a good actor, and he's has a level of humor about him and a level of intelligence. They both have this. They're both going to be movie directors soon, I'm quite sure. It's a great combination, the two of them. And I enjoyed being the obstacle. I thought I was a good, funny obstacle.
I thought you were a very funny obstacle. That's, I mean, the tone of the film is wonderful. It really is. It kind of takes you one way, then it kind of slaps you in the face with another emotion, and it's so clever. But was it quite lethargic for you in terms of, you know, that was the period in time where you came to Hollywood and you started in Hollywood, and kind of did you reminisce about that time and what it was like for you arriving in Hollywood as a young actor?
Well, for a long time I've had in the back of my mind that I would like to do something that did relate to because when I came to Hollywood, Hollywood was in the process of a big change. The studio system was over, and people were no longer under contract to the movie studios. And this happens every once in a while. It happened again in the late 70s with what we call mass release.
Yeah.
And I think we're involved in another one of those changes at the moment, which I will not go into because I want to talk about my movie.
That's for another day. That's for another day and another discussion.
Well, I'll go into it if you need. But no, I think that the combination of Lily and Alden is quite. I got lucky.
The cast's brilliant, and there's some familiar faces in there as well that you've worked with over the years. And there's also one of our kind of British institutions, Mr. Steve Coogan's in there as well. Wonderful scene.
Steve Coogan is hilarious, and it's such a pleasure to work with. And then, you know, I did have a really, Alec Baldwin and Marty Sheen and Ed Harris and Oliver Platt and just on and on. Was very lucky. And then I have not mentioned that woman. Who
sat in a seat just in the next studio only 6 weeks ago? 8 weeks ago?
Is that true?
That's very true.
We
all fell in love with her.
No one has told me that until this moment.
We all fell totally head over heels in love with her.
Yeah, that is a problem
You're a
for
lucky
us
man.
all. Yeah. Yeah, she's a great actress, a great wife, a great mother, and I could go on.
We could as well. We kind of wanted to lock her in the studio and keep on to ourselves. Lily, there's a wonderful scene in the back of the car with Annette. She plays your mother in the film, and it's just the most beautiful natural rapport that kind of goes on in that arrival. And there's a few scenes, in the back of that car, but where you arrive in Hollywood, and then as you kind of settle in a bit as well. Great scenes to watch.
No, Annette really opened me up a lot to improving. She just takes her character and runs with it and starts throwing in things here and there and just sees which catches and which falls. And I, being next to Annette Bening, I'm going to raise my game. So I better be on target to just slap something right back, So I felt that way with everyone, really, with Warren, with Alden, with Annette, especially being, mother-daughter relationship, because my mom and I are really, really close. So I know what that's like. And it just felt so organic, really. And we'd spent so much time at their home preparing and just also talking about life and throwing the movie out the window, just existing and seeing how we each other tick.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to watch, and I really hope a lot of people go and see it. And also have to mention that we're very excited that you're Dad is back playing, and we're all going to go and see him in Hyde Park this summer.
Oh, exciting. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
Legend. Absolute
It's about
legend.
time.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to chat to you both. And
Thank you.
I really hope people get a lot out of Rules Don't Apply. It's a wonderful film. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much.